This episode is rated M for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect those of the PFC Entertainment Network or any of the affiliates that make this show possible.
This is the Pure Fury Creations Entertainment Network.
Where's the beat?
And that's when you go on.
Go ahead. It's my day.
And the masters of the universe.
Something that you enjoy, like TV Guide.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
I pity the fool. And we welcome you to What the 80s here on the PFC Entertainment Network. She is Jill Bain. I'm Jason Klaus. We certainly appreciate you tuning in here this week after taking a couple of weeks off from this particular program. But that's not to say that both she and I have not been busy doing other things with other projects that are on our horizon. A lot of exciting announcements that are going to be coming up here in the next few days, few weeks. Be sure to stay tuned to all of our socials for the latest news and information on everything that we're doing here at the PFC Entertainment Network. With that being said, Jill, great to see you. How's things on this fine day?
Good to see you too. Things are pretty good. Pretty good. I've already got a full day in. I got up this morning, went to the store, made Roy his Father's Day dinner, and he eats like an old person. Like the early bird special was made for him.
Ironically, that's what I'm doing after this. I'm actually going to be firing up the grill and making my dad dinner. Because as we are recording this on Sunday, which is Father's Day, I went and had lunch with my kids earlier this afternoon before I went and did this. So, and it wound up being, weather-wise, wound up being damn near a picture-perfect day. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna make the old man some grub on the grill, and then I'll be heading off to work to start a new week. And I worked like, yesterday, by calendar wise, working a 6-day week on midnights, there's not a day during the week we're not in that plant.
Right.
So it doesn't really feel like I had a day off. It's just like, motherfucker, here we go again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing about third shift. If you've only got one day off, it's like not having a day off because, like you said, you're there till Saturday morning, and you go in Sunday night. So I don't miss that shit.
No, but, that's, I don't know which is worse, having it that way or actually having a weekend where your sleep schedule's all jacked up because your family, your friends, they're all on first shift hours schedule,
Right.
You know what I mean? So you want to spend as much time with them as you possibly can.
Who needs sleep?
Yeah. And then Sunday night rolls around, which is our Monday, and the next thing you know, you're walking in like a zombie, and it takes you another day and a half to get back on track. It's never ending.
Never.
It's not for everybody. That's for damn sure. Even the ones who are on that shift, it ain't for them. You can plainly see that.
No, it's third shift is not for the weak. Not for the weak.
No, certainly not. That's but it's what pays the bills, and that's what I keep in perspective. So,
Yeah.
Anything else happening in your neck of the woods here recently? I know we haven't been on the air here for a couple of weeks for this program, but anything you want to throw out there? Anything happening in Jill's world?
Well, I mean, we got the big announcement, but we got to iron out a few more details. But I do have, because as everyone knows, I like paranormal stuff. There,
What?
I know, right?
What the fuck?
So there is a furniture store in the Old Town District. And I can remember going in there as a teenager with my mom. She was looking for, I don't know, couch, chair, whatever. And we're up in the upstairs and we hear someone walking up the stairs and walking all the way to us. And we went to turn around to ask the question that we were talking about, and there was nobody there. Then I didn't go in that store again until after the house fire. We had to go and refurnish a house, so we went there. And Roy and I are looking at mattresses and bed frames and shit. And there's like one of them, like the box clocks.
Mm-hmm.
And I had looked at it and it was unplugged. Well, we were looking at a bed and it started playing and it was still unplugged. And it was like an older one, so it wasn't like, didn't have the battery compartment in the back. And so,
That was
yeah.
gonna be my question. Did it have battery backup or some shit?
I would assume no, the clock wasn't working. The clock was still, it wasn't moving. And then because, it's one of those places, you go and make your payments there. And I had went in a couple of times when Roy couldn't make it in or whatever. And it was always something. You would always see like someone like moving really quick from the main room when you're walking off to the side, or you would see something over on the stairs. Like I've never been in that building where something didn't happen. Well, a couple weeks ago, they had announced that they're closing that location. They actually sold it, and they're going to be building condominiums. Or they're restoring it for condominiums. I'm like, good luck to those tenants. But
No shit.
so I thought, you know what? I've got nothing to lose. A friend of mine and I have a paranormal group. So I thought, you know what? I've always wanted to go in there. So I took a chance and I called, and after a few games of phone tag, we were given the permission to go in there and do a little investigation. It's just going to be a little private thing with like 5 of us. But yeah, I'm really excited.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And I know it's, that's a passion of yours. It's something you're very interested in. Just the fact that the thing was moving when it was unplugged.
Yeah.
I have no, like, that's going to wind up being a very, very cool thing.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what comes out of it. I'm looking forward to the report, as it were.
Oh, there'll be one.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt. You know what else I have no doubt about is that we are selling some gimmicks from our summer lineup on the PFC store, which you can check out at pfcsummer.printify.me for all of our latest summer-inspired merchandise from this show and all the great shows here on the PFC network, including Creepy Soup. So look, check that out if you have not done so already. Apparently, somebody is about ready to have a PFC picnic, and like one of the frisbees was bought. A couple of other things. I was like, wow, somebody's fixing. Oh, beach towel. One of the beach towels.
Okay.
I was like, oh, someone's fixing to go to the beach.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I got to find out where they're at so I can be all stalkerish and take a picture of people buying our shit.
Well, that's cool. Well, I hope whoever bought it has a great day at the beach or the pool or wherever. Just hope it's a fun day.
Some badass merchandise to go with it. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Anytime I get a notification that something was purchased, I'm like, that's it's an amazing feeling because they could be spending that money on anything,
Right.
and they think enough about what we're doing here, and they're going to pump a little bit of that coin into our store. So I really appreciate that. So I just wanted to make mention of it. Haven't had a chance to in recent recordings because it just never pops up like that.
Yeah.
So I had to make mention of it. So if you're listening to this show and you're the one that bought some shit, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Well, as we do each and every week. Now, full disclosure, we do have a topic on hand here. Self-admittedly, a lot of the content within this topic are things that we have discussed, in some cases probably at great length, in previous episodes of the show, but it's compiled in such a way that it's going to reach out to a different demographic. Now, of that younger demographic, we're obviously gearing this towards the parents to pass this along to their kids, because I would hate to think that kids in single-digit age groups are listening to our content. If they are, eesh.
Yeah.
I don't. That's on you, I guess. We grew up with Richard Pryor and George Carlin and guys like that. So I mean, we may be that for them, Jill. So we are the George Carlin and Richard Pryors of the generation.
Look, I'm not mad about that comparison, not at all.
No, it could be worse.
Oh, yeah.
It could certainly be worse. But I feel like that this particular segment may take up the bigger chunk of the show, because as we do each and every week here, we look back at this week. June the 18th, and as that is when this show will actually drop on the RSS feed beginning at midnight, as well as our YouTube channel as well. We will be uploading this to YouTube because we don't generally live stream What the 80s. It's live to tape, as it were. So you will see this on the YouTube. Now, when you look back on this day in the 1980s, I didn't realize so much shit has happened on June the 18th. The number one headline, according to my faithful source here, Annie premiered in theaters. Now, if you grew up in the 1980s, Annie was everywhere. Once this movie came out, even in the weeks leading up to it, like I can remember watching the trailers. Even as a young kid in 1981 going into 1982, we started seeing lunchboxes and toys and clothing, and I mean, everything had Annie and the dog on it. What I didn't know is that Jack Nicholson was originally cast as Daddy Warbucks. Can you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine how the dynamic of that film would have changed had Jack Nicholson actually went through with that role?
I mean, it was Albert Finney, right? He was the perfect Daddy Warbucks. And I don't know, I couldn't imagine Jack Nicholson in, no. Mm-mm.
He dropped out of the project after the original producer left the making of the film. And then, obviously we got what we got, and it winds up becoming one of the most iconic movies and soundtracks, especially in the early 80s. To this day, I mean, there's been remakes, there's been reboots, there's, Annie has been a very iconic character. Now, Jill, you have said before, by and large, because you grew up with brothers, you were more or less a tomboy. But did the character of Annie resonate with you at all? Because I remember, in school, the girls in my class, man, like the folders and the trapper keepers, like everything had this character on it. Did it resonate with you on that level?
I mean, not on that level. I did see the movie, probably once, maybe once in the theater, and maybe once when it came out, like on cable. Um, but yeah, I mean, no, yeah, I liked it, but it wasn't like I didn't collect like the folders and the stickers and all the merchandise that went with it.
Yeah, when I say it was everywhere, it was everywhere.
Yeah.
It really, truly was. So, on this day in 1985 is one of the more prolific, we'll say, draft classes for the NBA. Patrick Ewing, who would go on to become the face of the New York Knicks for a long, long time, was the number one overall pick in the NBA drafts. But other notable players that were selected and subsequently have been elected to the NBA Hall of Fame: Chris Mullin of the Golden State Warriors, Karl Malone of the Utah Jazz, and more closely here, one Joe Dumars of the Detroit Pistons. Joey D, man, that dude was pretty awesome in his time here with the Pistons. Birthdays. This day, people born on this day that were of relevance in the 1980s, and how do you get any bigger? In 1962, Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
One of the Beatles. Where are the Beatles on your radar? Because as we get older, I feel like fandom for the Beatles has kind of split. You are either a fan and you appreciate what they did, or they are the most overrated band of all time.
I'm in that camp.
Where are you at with the Beatles?
I'm in the overrated camp.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'll be goddamned. Kind of surprised by that for some reason. I think my fandom it's a lot to do with how I pay tribute to my mom. Mm-hmm. Because my mom loved the Beatles. The Beatles and the Monkees. I've talked about this ad nauseum. But that's how I pay homage to her. Is I will play the shit out of the Beatles and or the Monkees when I'm in that kind of mood, or like her birthday's coming up or Mother's Day or something like that. That's my go-to. Do I think they're the greatest band of all time? Absolutely not. Do they have their place in history?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely they do. They have influenced so many musicians of their era and generation, and everyone that has come after it.
Yeah.
Even rap artists are influenced in some way or another by what the Beatles brought. So you don't have to be a fan to at least appreciate what the hell they did for the music scene, because the game changed when they exploded.
I agree.
Actress Miriam Flynn. Are you familiar with that name, Jill?
No.
Bet you will when I tell you who she played.
Probably.
Cousin Catherine in the Vacation movies. Eddie's wife.
Okay. How did I not know her name?
I didn't know her name. I would not have known that if they hadn't put in that she was Catherine.
Okay.
Yeah. Born in 1952. As was actress Carol Kane. They have her listed here from the TV show Taxi. Isabella Rossellini from the movie Cousins. Dizzy Reed, the keyboardist for Guns N' Roses, born in 1963, as was professional football player Bruce Smith. All right. Other notable birthdays. See, I don't know why they don't put this in with the other ones. It fucks me up. Lou Brock, baseball Hall of Famer, played 16 seasons with the St. Louis Cardinals. He actually passed away in September of 2020. And professional wrestler, and we've talked about him, Jill, a little bit in passing. Bruiser Brody was born on this day in 1946 and was brutally murdered in a locker room.
Yeah, that's actually one I have wanted to cover on Creepy Soup.
When you get to that, I would love to tag in on that.
Okay.
Because I've got some shit to say about that. We'll leave it at that. Okay, those who passed away on this day of 80s relevance. Larry Doby, basketball player, and baseball player. As soon as that came out, I'm like, that's not right. Major League Baseball player elected into the Hall of Fame in 1998. Film critic Roger Ebert. Siskel and Ebert, man, like if you were a filmmaker, you feared these motherfuckers.
Yeah. Yeah.
You did not want your shit getting put on their show and get sliced to shit if it was a bad movie. If you got the 2 thumbs down,
yep. Pack it up and go home.
It was hard to rebound from that. Some of them became cult classics that was snubbed on by these two. But let's talk about them for a second, because I don't really feel like they get the just spotlight, because you want to talk about carving a niche out for yourself.
Oh yeah,
these two did it, because every newspaper in the country has film critics. Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel were on opposite sides of the city of Chicago. They wrote for opposing newspapers, but somehow or another they had this idea to come together, and they wind up becoming a syndicated weekly TV show.
Yeah.
Siskel and Ebert at the movies, and people watched to see the trailers and to get their takes on it, because their opinions were held in very high regard. In some cases, I don't know why, because personally, and I actually I do know why. My brand of entertainment and theirs did not meet up.
Right.
You know what I mean? But man, they were all over pop culture. Siskel and Ebert, man, I haven't thought about them in a hot minute, because there really hasn't been a replacement.
No.
You know, since Roger Ebert has since passed away, obviously, but nobody has really kind of stepped up and become that over-the-top animated film critic. Gene Shalit, I guess, on the Today Show would be the closest thing, but that was a 10-minute segment on Fridays.
Right.
These motherfuckers had an hour-long show. So, I don't know. I get that the industry has changed and what have you, but there's still room out there for an entertaining critic, you got to believe, right?
Right.
All right. Let's look at movies that were released on this day. We already mentioned in 1982 Annie, but also Author, starring Al Pacino and Diane Cannon, was released, as was Firefox, starring and directed by Clint Eastwood. And in 1986, we got the movie Legal Eagles, with Robert Redford and Deborah Winger. Not a whole lot happening in TV. Albums released on this day. King Crimson released Beat. Fleetwood Mac released Mirage. This was in 82. In 83, Pink Floyd released a compilation album called Works. 84, Elton John released Breaking Hearts. Also in 84, Roger Glover released Mask. In 1985, Weird Al Yankovic, Dare to Be Stupid. Featuring that pop hit, Like a Surgeon. No, this is something I can't fucking believe. 1983. A boy band played the first of 4 sold-out shows at Madison Square Garden in New York City, the most famous arena in the world. All 80,000 tickets sold out within 3 days. Menudo. Oh, shit. I know it. Yeah, I talked about the NBA draft. Don Sutton of the California Angels recorded his 300th career win in 1986. And then Curtis Strange won the U.S. Open in 89. All right. Here we go. Number 1 songs in America this day, every year of the 1980s. 1980, Funky Town. 1981, Kim Carnes and Betty Davis Eyes. 82, Ebony and Ivory, Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder. 83, Flashdance, What a Feeling. 84, Time After Time, Cyndi Lauper. 85, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Tears for Fears. Why were they not bigger?
I don't know.
Why was Tears for Fears not a bigger thing?
I believe they should have been.
86, the duet of Patti LaBelle and Michael McDonald gave us On My Own.
Love that song.
On my own. Oh, sorry. Sorry to fuck that up for you. People hear that ever again and say, you're welcome for that. 87, Always by Atlantic Starr. 88, Together Forever, Rick Astley. Yes, ma'am. 1989, I'll Be Loving You Forever. New Kids on the Block.
Nope.
Why? What do you mean?
I hated them.
Don't tell me you didn't have a Jordan Knight fucking button.
Nope.
The size of your face, because like my brother did.
Now, I did have a shirt because I was so anti New Kids on the Block. My brother and his girlfriend at the time found a shirt, gave it to me that year for Christmas, and it was like a very crudely drawn cartoon of the band members, and it had like green goo just dripping down each of them, and it was Nuked Kids on the Block.
I appreciate that.
I loved it. I loved that shirt, and then after I started dating Roy, I had left that shirt there, and the next time I went out there, his brother had the sleeves cut off, and he took over my shirt. It's fucking nice of him.
That was real sweetie.
Such a dick.
Jill.
Yes.
Why, in your opinion, do you suppose the younger demographic, the younger generation now, is so fascinated and in some cases obsessed with the 1980s? I mean, besides the fact that it was the absolute best generation of all time, but be that as it may.
I don't know. We either got gunfire over here somewhere or fireworks going on.
Let's just say it's fireworks.
We'll do that. I don't know. I just think, I don't know, maybe we just made it look so fucking cool that, you know. Because, I mean, I'm not, okay, even if we just go with the music, we'll stick with one portion. Now my husband would disagree, which that's our point of contention, but that's fine. Anything from the 80s, even the shit music, is so much better than what is out now.
I, piggybacking off that, I feel like in this day and age, entertainment-wise, Hollywood and, you know, all the music labels and all this other shit, they literally have run out of any ideas, any new ideas, anything original.
Yeah, that's why we're getting so many remakes, reboots. Did you see they're doing a Spaceballs too?
Yes.
I thought of you.
I was excited about that, but let me tell you why I'm super, super excited about this. Rick Moranis is coming out of retirement to play Dark Helmet, and I am fucking there for it.
Yeah.
Bless this heart. We could do an entire episode on this guy. I just watched Parenthood. Do you remember that movie from 1989 with that huge ensemble cast with Steve Martin and Rick Moranis? And watched that the other night at work, and it is still, to this day, one of my all-time favorite movies. He played such a jackass in that, but he played it so well, so by the time it comes back around towards the end of the movie, he is low-key just so damn good at everything he did, whether he played the nerd in Ghostbusters or the quirky scientist and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Anything that he's done, he put his all in. And the reasons he left Hollywood were among the most admirable that anybody could ever ask of a person. And he's coming out for, of all things, he's been pitched. He's coming back for fucking Spaceballs. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm there for it. I told Sam, I'm like, whatever day this is, we are there. I am not missing that.
Right.
Not missing it at all. So happy about that. Mel Brooks has his work cut out for him for this not to suck.
Yes.
You know. And I'm excited that he's going to be in there as Yogurt, but it's going to be what he does behind the scenes that is going to. Please don't fuck this up.
Right.
Please. The originality aspect is definitely part of it. And there is something to be said about how we refer to that time. We talk about our childhoods by and large with so much happiness, hope, optimism.
Yeah.
Even though outside outside the sandboxes and our yards and the ball fields and all, and every place else that we played in, we were oblivious to the outside world, other than the fact that it was pounded in our head that we were in a Cold War with the Soviet Union.
Yep.
We knew about that. But we didn't give a fuck. It was America versus Russia, and America wins every time.
Yep.
We've seen Rocky IV. I've seen Hogan, beat every foreign-based gimmick that ever came across him in lieu of the WWF title. It was just the way it was positioned. Sergeant Slaughter and the whole G.I. Joe thing, and
Yeah.
like it was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I know when I have talked to my kids that I speak of my childhood extremely glowingly, to the point to where my 11-year-old daughter is very interested in all things 80s. She still has her finger on the pulse on the garbage they got going on now, but she does have an interest in various aspects of the 1980s. So when this list came across my radar, I'm like, well, this is the easiest thing to do, because we're going to create the ultimate 80s hit list for the younger demographic of those who are interested in reliving the 1980s. So we're going to focus on movies. We're going to focus on 15 movies that kids nowadays will absolutely love. And they're ones that Jill and I and other people within our age group probably, dare I say, will still watch to this day. If they're channel surfing and it comes across their radar, they're stopping to watch a couple of minutes of it, if not the duration.
Right.
There's a few of them that I will do that with. The Blues Brothers is the first one that comes to mind. Back to the Future is another one. If I see them on, clear my schedule. I'm here for the next however long, because it takes me back to that point of my childhood. Because being an adult sucks.
And do you remember being a kid in the 80s and wanting to be that adult?
Yeah.
What the fuck were we thinking?
God, I can't wait to grow up to do this and that.
Yep.
Well, paying bills and getting old wasn't part of it.
No. No. And that's one thing I will say for our parents. Our parents made it look so effortless. Even when they were struggling, like, my mom raised us as a single mom. And, like, looking back now, I know some of the shit she did was because, struggling, whatever. But she never, I can remember this was a breakfast when my mom was on the broke side. And we loved it. And it was one of those things that I will still have it now for breakfast. And that is like here in Saginaw, we have a Napoleano bakery, and they have the Italian bread. It's what they use for like the steak sandwiches and stuff. She would get a loaf of that, cut us each our slice because it was an unsliced loaf. And she would make us coffee. And that was breakfast because it was cheap as shit.
I can appreciate that.
We didn't realize it was a fucking broke meal. We loved it. Mm-hmm. That's probably where my love of coffee started. Thanks, Mom.
100%. 100% it is. There ain't nothing wrong with that either, by the way. Anyway, sidebar. My girl has a 7-year-old son, and he hates the smell of coffee, right? She bought me a coffee pot to keep over there for, because I help her with, school pickup and drop off and stuff like that. So she bought me a coffee maker to keep over there. So when I'm over there, I make coffee. And like he's all the time saying, gosh, I can't stand the smell of coffee. So now, just to kind of grind his gears a little bit, keep him on his toes, I'll go to make coffee and he'll say something. He's like, oh, it's coffee. I'm like, what'd you say? You want a cup of coffee? How do you want? Like I'll act like I'm getting. I don't want coffee, and it is the funniest shit ever. It cracks me up, So I think I may have ruined coffee for this kid. He's probably never going to drink it just out of spite because I fucked it up so bad. What? Did you say you want some coffee? Easiest thing in the world. All right, so we're going to give a cheat sheet of sorts. We're going to give you 15 movies to check out of the 1980s. Some you may have already, and some you have not. You may have some sort of a preconceived notion of what it is, but if you want to know what it was like to experience the 1980s, entertainment-wise, we're gonna give you 15 blockbusters, according to our friends over at Ranker.com. So this is going to be a hoot. 15, and we're obviously because we've probably spent a lot of time talking about these, we're not going to take a tremendous amount of time, but we are going to make mention of them and why they do resonate to this day. For example, number 15 is Top Gun. In the 1980s, like action adventure was all the rage.
Mm-hmm.
It was you had your Rambos, you had your Rockies, you had the Terminator, you had all kinds of action adventure movies, Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, this type of thing. Top Gun stood out on its own. It was the first one that really put air fighter jets on full display as a main part of the character. Now, right around this time, we also got the release of a movie called Iron Eagle, which was looked at as like the Temu version of Top Gun, if I'm being honest with you. But I'll be honest, there are aspects about Iron Eagle that I liked better than Top Gun. But Top Gun is put on a lot of people's Mount Rushmores of 80s flicks, and it comes in at number 15 on this countdown. Where you on, Top Gun?
I'm Team Iron Eagle.
There was just something about Louis Gossett Jr. that dude was low-key fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He's another guy that doesn't get enough praise, enough love. Jason Gedrick was the lead in that. I knew of him.
That's why I watched it.
Was
The Heavenly Kid.
The Heavenly Kid.
Love that movie.
One of my favorites.
Yes.
We'll watch it today. It's on Tubi, I think. And I'm like,
I might have to watch it.
And on the watch list.
Because I'm not going to lie, I was a teenage girl. So Jason Gedrick was, yep.
He was dreamy.
He was. Loved him.
He was such a jackass. He was such a nerd in The
Heavenly Kid, yeah.
And then you see him in Iron Eagle, and I'm like, you're supposed to be Tom Cruise, and I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it, pal.
Yeah.
But I wasn't the demographic either. This
Backed out on you?
Yeah. I do know that 14 is another one of my low-key favorites. Not even low-key. I'll go to bat for this. Adventures in Babysitting.
Don't fuck with the babysitter.
And I'm not talking about the Disney Channel remake with Sabrina Carpenter. I'm talking the original.
Oh, they remade that?
Huh? They
remade that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Nope. Almighty Thor.
Yeah, it was. The remake was okay. I didn't hate it. I saw it for what it was. My daughter watched it, so of course I'm going to watch it with her. And then I had to show her the original, and she liked the original better.
Yeah.
So yeah, Adventures in Babysitting.
I may have liked that movie. I may have liked it. Yeah, I like that movie. That was one of my favorites.
Especially if you, and I don't mean to say it this way, but this movie really resonated more with girls who were babysitters.
Yep.
So, but I loved Elizabeth Shue. Like, I had such a thing for her, going back to The Karate Kid. And then, Cocktail and all the other shit that she's done since then. But, God, she had it going on.
Yeah, I that movie. It's been years, but yeah, I like that movie. That is definitely one that if I was channel surfing or found it on one of the streaming things, I would watch it for sure.
It is on Disney Plus.
Okay.
They do have the original on Disney Plus. They have edited a little bit, which pisses me off. But I've watched that movie so many times, I know what was edited. So yeah, I hate that shit. Just do it in its original form.
Yep.
You know, but it is on Disney Plus. What you're not going to find on Disney Plus is what comes in at number 13. I got the hype. I understood why this was popular. It didn't really resonate with me the way it was supposed to, but it did with a lot of other people. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It wasn't something like I'll watch it every like once every 10 years. Like, all right, I'll check it out. But I watch it for George Carlin, if I can be honest with you. And the guy that plays Socrates, that shit was funny.
Yeah,
So crazy.
I've seen that movie once, and that was good. I'm fine. I don't even think I've seen the sequel.
I tried the sequel. I got 20 minutes into it, and I just couldn't do it. And this new one, I didn't even fuck with. I'm like, I've already seen Keanu Reeves in The Matrix and Speed and all these other movies. I can't go back to buying them as a dim-witted airhead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He kind of ruined that for me. So, not happening. Number 12, Big, with Tom Hanks. Yeah.
That was
Great.
My mom loved that movie, so we watched it a lot, and I believe I bought it for her on VHS one year for her birthday. Yeah.
Real basic box art, just a close-up of Tom Hanks' face with a smile, and in lowercase letters in red, B-I-G.
Mm-hmm.
Big. That was it.
Yep.
It's like,
Simple but effective.
yeah. Less is more. I'm always about less is more.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Number 11. Movies. This movie and movies like this were so far off my radar. I to this day, at 49 years old, I have not seen this movie, and I have zero interest in it. The Never-Ending Story.
Same.
Glad we're on the same page here. 10 is Gremlins.
Yeah.
One of the most iconic original characters of the 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me ask you this. Is it a Christmas movie?
I mean, I know it takes place around Christmas time.
Mm-hmm. The whole premise of it is around Christmas. He's a Christmas present, is Gizmo.
Yeah. I mean, I'm torn on it because it's he is a Christmas gift. Yes. But yeah. I know it's been on like horror movie lists. I don't consider it a horror movie.
Suspenseful family adventure is what I would deem it as.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm with you. I'm torn on it whether it's a Christmas movie or not. I don't like referring to it as a Christmas movie because plain as day, dialogue in that movie reveals the secret about the big guy in the North Pole, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
I would not let my kids watch Gremlins until I knew that they knew.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want that being how they found out.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, in the description here, this Christmas classic was so disturbing they had to invent the PG-13 rating. You can see that too. Number 9, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is the first of the Indiana Jones movies. Indiana Jones, played by Harrison Ford, one of the more iconic cinematic characters. In the 80s, we got 3 installments of the Indiana Jones movies. We had 2 more sequels after the fact, but the first 3 were 80s. This got Harrison Ford out of the Han Solo gimmick that he had been known for, and now he was Indiana Jones. Yep. So it's like, well, if you're going to be stereocast as 2 characters, you did okay for yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Number 8. Could be the most perfect movie ever made in terms of having a little bit of everything for everybody. The Princess Bride in 1987.
Yeah, that I know you gave me homework to watch that, and I haven't done it yet.
You know what's going to happen? When you do watch that, that is going to be the topic of the next episode. We are going to do a deep dive on The Princess Bride.
Let me see if it's on any of the streaming apps, and maybe I can get that done before next week.
It is on Prime Video. It is on Disney Plus. It is on AMC. It is on Max. And Apple TV.
Okay. Oh, I can definitely watch it somewhere then. Yeah. I've got a couple of those.
Number 7. Number 7 got a lot of kids in trouble. But it also prompted kids to see just how far can I push that proverbial envelope in terms of skipping school. Ferris Bueller's Day Off comes in at number 7. As far-fetched as that movie was, that was a fun watch.
Yeah, that's another one I've seen. I've watched it once. Didn't hate it. I don't know if I would consider it like my top 10 favorite 80s movies. It was good. But like you said, it was a little far-fetched. But, yeah.
The whole parade scene where he jumps up on the float. Okay, I got it. There was a parade going on during filming. Why not incorporate it? The destroying the Ferrari. Oh my God!
Should be illegal.
Yeah, you just. I just couldn't even. I'll tell you who made that movie for me was Jeffrey Jones, Ed Rooney. That dude, even though he wound up being kind of a piece of shit in real life, that role, that character was fucking epic. Oh God, he played that role so well. Number 6, I just made mention of this a little bit ago when we were talking about Spaceballs 2, but Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. You want to talk about original concepts?
Yeah.
Between the cinematography, between the props that they had, I mean, giant Cheerios we're talking about. You're like, wow, if I was that big, that is what one Cheerio would look like. We've been eating Cheerios our whole lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even as they're enlarged on the box to show the texture. It wasn't anything like what we saw with this son of a bitch.
No.
So, where you at on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
That's one of the movies I watched once, but it does remind me a lot of The Incredible Shrinking Woman that, came out previously, and, you had her kind of similar situations. Yeah, I liked it. It was a good movie, good family movie.
The one thing that I really appreciate about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids Not a lot of people realize this. The other dad was Max Headroom, Matt Frewer.
Mm-hmm.
And not a lot of people, like, when I say that, they're like, oh, that does kind of look like Max Headroom. No, it doesn't look like him.
It is
It
him.
is him.
Yeah.
That's what the whole damn thing was based on, was that guy. Okay. Number 5. This was the movie we watched. This may have been one of our first. A lot of kids our age are their first rated R movie. Stand by Me.
Yep.
This is another one of those that I will watch if I see it's on. Because that movie haunted me for a long time. Just the whole premise of it: a group of boys going out to look for a dead body.
Yeah.
God damn. Based on a Stephen King book. It was one of my faves. All-star cast, you know. The Richard Dreyfuss was the narrator, who was as hot as a firecracker, you know, back in that time. It was just a well-done movie. One of them coming-of-age flicks.
Yeah.
All right. 4 is the original Karate Kid. We've spent a lot of time talking about the Karate Kid. You know, those who are watching like Cobra Kai on Netflix, and you know, the remake with Jackie Chan and when Jaden Smith, I think was the kid's name. Fuck all that. Before you do any of all that, you need to watch
the original.
At least the first 2. At least the first 2. The third one, The next Karate Kid with Hilary Swank, kind of not my thing. But the first 2, I got behind. Is this the only pool you guys got? 3. Actually, it should be number 1, but okay. E.T.
I was waiting for this one. I was really waiting for this one.
All right. Number 2, Back to the Future.
That's a good one to have on this list, yes.
And number 1, you want to take a guess as to what number 1 is?
Is it The Breakfast Club?
No.
Ah!
The Goonies.
Shit. How did that one never even entered my head?
I'm wondering, where's Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
You want to talk about 80s?
I mean, I guess I can understand why The Breakfast Club, because of the weed smoking scene, but...
All right, let's look at a few that was below the 15 real quick before we put a bow on this. Number 16, Flight of the Navigator. 17 was Labyrinth. 18 was 16 Candles. 19 was Pee-wee's Big Adventure. 20, Little Monsters. And that's where they end the list. So, there's a few on there where you're like, I think Ghostbusters didn't even make the list. So that kind of surprises me.
Yeah, a little bit.
But, well, we gave kids nowadays the opportunity to, we gave them their go-to, okay? Pick any one of these and enjoy your day, because this is what it was like back in the 80s. And a lot of them, you know, you're looking at special effects and things of that nature, cutting edge shit at the time that would take 4 or 5 days and 15 different processes to bring to the screen. Nowadays it's done virtually on the laptop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you got to keep in mind, put shit in context. So that's what made the 80s so fucking cool.
Yes.
So with that, we're going to go ahead and put a bow on this week's episode. We appreciate everybody tuning in here. And one more time, don't forget to check out the online store, pfcstore.printify.me or pfcsummer.printify.me. And stay tuned for our socials for some big announcements that will be coming up in the next few days and weeks. And a very exciting summer for all of us here at the PFC Entertainment Network. With that, go out, be awesome to yourselves and to each other. We'll see you next week right here on What the 80s on the PFC Entertainment Network.